Who's first?
Just go through the quarterback progression this fall, and Coach told us it's Ben Hicks for the first game. Just how y'all got to that decision.
Yeah, I think Ben's earned it. He went out every day and led the guys. Nick was started with an uphill curve, honestly, because he got here a little later than Ben did. Ben went out and competed. Did everything we were asking him to do. Has a great understanding of the offense and where we're at, especially going out there with a lot of young guys. And so we feel like Ben gives us the best chance to win right now because he can really get everybody going in the right way. Make sure that, if a receiver split out too wide, if a freshman receiver split out too wide or too tight, he can be able to move them around and make protection calls, help the offensive line, help the running back. So that's just kind of what we felt like gives us the best chance to win going into week one.
Chad said that Knox may not practice again until Wednesday. With as much time as he's missed, how much can you count on him? And also Colton Jackson, how much, what's his kind of status with his foot?
Yeah, with Trey, being here in January is really going to help him. If he would have just showed up in June, I'd be a little concerned about it. Honestly, I really don't have any concerns about Trey. He's very intelligent. He picked up our offense probably faster than any other freshman that I've ever seen. I mean, honestly, he'll be a little rusty, probably be a little out of shape going into the first game, but it's critical that we can get him out there and get him some live game experience. And so, hoping to get him back Wednesday. That'd be the ideal situation, is to get him back Wednesday so he has a couple of days to kind of prepare and get ready. But he's in every one of Coach Stepp's meetings, going through the game plan and understanding what we have to do and his assignment. So I don't have any concerns with him. Colton, got a little bit of reps yesterday. He's slowly coming back from his foot injury, and fully expect him to be 100% come game time.
And you actually had two questions. I'll ask one at a time.
Okay.
You got several freshmen, I think 9 true freshmen on the 2D, both sides of the ball, 5 on offense. I know this was a really heralded class. Are you surprised this many guys made the depth chart? And just what kind of camp have the guys on your side of the ball had?
Yeah, surprised but not surprised. I mean, those guys we recruited and brought in have done some really good things out there. They've really shown some flashes of why we recruited them. Obviously, losing Dion and Jordan Jones to injury for a little while with Jordan, at least, only excels those freshmen, puts them into those spots a little quicker. So expect to get Jordan back, obviously. I've been really pleased with fall camp. I think we've thrown a lot at those guys in terms of installs and plays, and they've done a really good job of learning on the fly. And obviously there's a lot of mistakes that were made, but getting back in training camp with school starting so late, getting back into meetings and being able to walk through and go back and correct those mistakes has been huge for their development. So I've been pretty pleased with where they're at. Obviously, I know a lot of people were asking me at the golf tournament deal about Trey Knox, and listen, Trey hasn't played a snap for us yet. And so we hope that we see in games, obviously, what we've seen in practice, but he's got to go make plays on the field too.
Myron Cunningham, you got him number 1 left or right guard, but I know he's also worked number 1 left tackle. I think he's worked both guards and both tackles at some point. Well, what do you thought of his versatility and his camp? What do you think about him as a player now that you've had him through camp and spring?
I think he's a phenomenal player. I think about 2 weeks into camp, he was kind of maybe reading y'all's clippings a little bit too much, and that he's just got to stay the course and just keep working and don't get complacent and be the guy that we brought him here to be. I think his ceiling is extremely high. I think he's a phenomenal player. I think that he'll be a guy that pro scouts will look at when it comes to his time. But he's everything we thought he would be. Very versatile, like you said. He's played a little bit of left guard in the spring. He's played some right guard in fall camp. He's played some left tackle in fall camp. So I think that shows you how smart he is and how well he picks up our offense and is able to make the calls on either side of the ball and use the proper technique on either side of the ball as well. So very excited about Myron and his future here.
Coach, with regards to the quarterback situation, we heard Coach Moore say a while ago that he was evaluating things and wanted to pick the guy that had won the team. In other words, the guy that the team will rally behind. What is it about Ben Hicks where that was part of the equation? What kind of guy are we talking about here with the team?
I think the biggest thing was, number one, when Ben got here, for the first couple months, he kind of just, was quiet, didn't say a whole lot, kind of sat back and really observed what was happening and who the leaders on the team were and all those kind of things. And I think, he did it the right way of earning those guys respect through spring practice. Again, like we said, or like I said too, with Nick just not being here that time, he kind of did the same thing, which I thought he did a great job of, not coming in here in June and trying to just be the guy, and in terms of winning everybody over. So Nick handled it the same way Ben did. He just didn't have as much time, obviously, as Ben. But when you talk about Ben, Ben's he's a fiery competitor. He hates to lose. He'll headbutt every offensive lineman, at the very beginning of the game when we're in warm-ups, make sure that he's checking all their oil and make sure they're, ready to go. He's this fiery guy. People like him, people like Nick. They're play quarterback. That's kind of natural for those guys. They're both good quarterbacks that anybody would want to follow. So Ben's just a fiery leader, competitor. He's not afraid to call somebody out, tell them, hey, we got to pick it up or go encourage. If I'm the one getting mad, he's the one that's encouraging. So he's done a good job of that. He's matured a lot over the years. When we first got him at SMU, he's kind of an immature kid, and he'll be the first one to admit that. And he's matured a lot over the years and really learned how to be a leader. The Navy SEAL guys we brought in, I know I keep referencing those guys, but they said, when they were at SMU, they didn't really, think too much of Ben as a leader. And after watching him here, they said, yeah, man, this kid's come a long way. So really excited about that, and he'll continue to grow and develop as well.
Hey, Joe, I got a couple things, too. The flip side of naming Ben is that Nick is now the two guy. What was his response? Did you give him a layout of, hey, here's how we plan to use you? And part two, some Portland State defensive game planning, what you got?
Yeah, I think, anytime you don't get named the starter, I think you're a little disappointed. I know I was when I was playing. If I didn't get named the starter, I was a little disappointed because, everybody wants to play. Again, if you play this position at this level, everybody's competitive and wants to get out on the field and play. So it's obviously a little disappointing, but I do think that Nick understands that, he didn't play at all last year and was very limited the year before due to injury. So we've got to get him ready. He's got to play, and we shared that with Ben. He's got to get some game experience, some game reps that just in case, again, this is a long season in the SEC West. He's got to be ready to go. So we've got to get him some meaningful snaps that he'll be able to grow some confidence in and be ready if this situation arises where he has to go in. Portland State, they play extremely hard. You turn on the film against Oregon, Nevada, their biggest games, I guess you can say the biggest games of the year last year, and they're competing. They're getting after it. It didn't seem like against Oregon that they were very shy to be there. They came in ready to play. They were bouncing around, running around, making tackles, and so it was a 14-0 game. I think midway through the second quarter in the Oregon game. So they play extremely hard. They're very long at corner. Every corner on their depth chart is 6'2 plus. They play a little bit of a funky style of defense in terms of just you don't see it a whole lot. And so we've got to do a good job. Again, like I've always said, in first games, you got to make a lot of adjustments. There's probably going to be something that they're going to show in game one this year that they didn't show all last year. So we got to just, stay confident, stay calm, and make the proper adjustments and do what we got to do. They do a good job of mixing coverages as well. Ben's going to have to do a good job of seeing what there's pre-snap read and his post-snap read because they do a good job of hiding some of their coverages. So it'll be a really good challenge for us. We've got to match their intensity early and establish what we want to do offensively.
Now that you got Cunningham plugged in at right guard, do you feel like you have the best 5 offensive linemen on the field going into the first game? And what's your confidence in that group?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Obviously, that's why we got them there. I think obviously we would love to have had Noah Gatlin competing a little bit up front and getting some work, but I do feel like our best 5 linemen are on the field in the starting lineup. So, I want to make sure, again, first game and this week in practice, getting Colton back healthy. Cap's back healthy. We've got to try to, again, start developing that continuity and letting those guys play next to each other, make the calls on the run. Not just a pre-snap call, but making calls on the run is important, especially this week. These guys do a lot of movement. They do a lot of twisting, a lot of things to try to disrupt your run game. And if you're not on it and you're not on the same page, it could create some difficulties. So just developing that continuity in practice this week. We're showing them a lot of the different looks and stuff that they got to, make the calls on the run. So excited about those to start those guys and excited to see what they'll do this year.
You counting much on O'Grady, and just how do you feel that Gunner and Harrell have done?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get to count on CJ. It seems that his knee has taken a little longer than Coylan's and Cap's. Similar injuries, I guess. I'm not a doctor, but I think it's been kind of a similar injury. Trying to get him back as soon as we can. Obviously, we love to have him in the first game. Coach has a rule: if you don't practice, you can't play. So we got to get him out there by Wednesday, hopefully, and get him running around. So try to get him some game reps. Feel comfortable with Chase and Grayson. They've done some really good things. Chase has done a great job of making the transition to tight end. Grayson's done a good job of just being the guy he's always been. You can really see Grayson trying a lot harder in the run game, and he's taken that really upon himself to challenge himself to get better in that aspect, and you can see that every day in practice. He's really trying better in the run game, not just a pass receiver tight end, but more of a run blocking tight end as well.
Joe, just throwing and catching, where are y'all compared to where y'all were this time last year? I mean, catching more balls in practice, and wide receiver separation seemed to be something that y'all wanted to change with this recruiting class, and how has it been?
Yeah, I think, we went up and watched the Kansas City Chiefs OTAs. Anytime you can go and see how somebody else does it, you can always pick up one or two things. And, I was watching those guys, how they kind of threw and catch in practice, like you said, and like routes versus air and stuff. So we've done things a little bit differently this fall camp, try to get some more throwing in. Especially to the running backs and the tight ends. I think it's been good for us. Our quarterback's arms have been a little sore, which is nothing too concerning. Other than that, we were just throwing a lot of balls and trying to catch a lot of balls and trying to get those freshmen ready. So, I think that we've, from a getting separation standpoint, we've come a long way. Still not where we want to be. Still have to work the fundamentals. I mean, anytime you're playing, a lot of freshmen out there, you're teaching them releases, you're teaching them space releases, you're teaching them a lot of different things, how to stack, teaching them a lot of different things to try to get them ready. And I think that those guys have come a long way in fall camp and hopefully continuing that as the season rolls along.
Joe, was that June you guys went up to Kansas City? I think that's when those OTAs are. And did you guys have, if you can remember when that was and how many days you spent, did you guys have a connection with the Chiefs, or just say that's the closest NFL team, or how'd you end up going to the Chiefs OTAs?
Well, they're one of the best offenses in the league, in my opinion. I love watching those guys. Andy Reid is a great offensive mind that has kind of adapted to more of a college-style offense, if you want to call it that. Obviously, they're right up the road, so it made it kind of easy. Coach Stepp had a connection up there. We were able to get in and go up and watch practice. So that's all we kind of did. We had a little morning that we had off and tried to do a little staff development, go up there. Me, Stepp, and Coach Fry went up there and, just watched from practice, kind of hung around their facility afterwards a little bit. Tried to pick up just anything you can. And so that's what we did. I think it might have been in June, maybe a day between, high school camps or whatever it was. I think that's when we went up there.
Last one, barbecue.
Oh, yeah, we ate at the really nice place. Y'all probably know it better than I do. 9 or what was it? That's it. Yeah, it was really good.
That should be the last one.
Really good barbecue.
What has Bo Limmer and Ricky Stromberg shown you as freshmen to be second string? And how do you feel if Myron went to left tackle? How do you feel Ricky is starting at right guard?
I feel really good. Ricky Stromberg is a dude. I love him. He's a really good player for us. You know, if you didn't know any better, him wearing the same number he's wearing, it's almost like having Yelda back out there. You know, just a little lighter Yelda, not quite as big, but I mean, he works his butt off. He run blocks well. He pass protects well. He's very athletic. He gets to go up against Sosa every day. So it's only making him better, iron sharpening iron, and very, very impressed with Ricky. Bo has done really good things. We're really excited about Bo as well. He's been dealing with a little bit of just a nagging small injury that's kind of limited him, if you want to say that a little bit. But you know, they're both really good players, and if we had to put them on the field, I'd feel pretty confident in both of those guys. Thanks, all right, thanks, guys. See y'all.